Hello everyone, this is Matt Patel from Keystroke Games again, and today I'm going to be bringing you the first update video of many videos for the community game that I have described in my previous upload. So if you haven't seen that, go right now and watch the explanation introduction video is what I called it, of the community game. Once you've watched that, hopefully you already have, we can get started with what I'm going to talk about today. So this update video is going to be different than the rest of the update videos, because for this update video we actually don't have any finished content yet, because the whole purpose of this update video is to set the goals for what we need to start making this game. So the goals for this first update are going to be basic player with movement on some sort of terrain, and the player should be able to place a simple construction or building object. So for this, we're going to need a player sprite, and we're going to need ground textures, and we're going to need some sort of construction object. Now let's go into detail about each one of these objects so that our graphics designers know exactly what we need to make this game work. So the player, as the player progresses through the technology, his sprite will obviously change as he goes from being a primitive human being to like a space astronaut man. So the first sprite is going to be like a Stone Age caveman-esque character. Now, for the animation to be really smooth, what we want to do is have separate sprite for the feet of the player and the torso of the player. So this way we can face the torso to wherever the player is interacting, and the legs don't always have to face exactly with the torso, which makes it look a lot more realistic from the top, because that's how actual humans behave. So for this, the leg sprite should have walking forwards and walking backwards animations, and it should just be the legs. And the actual torso sprite should have like the head and the arms and if the chest, if it's even visible from, obviously we're doing all this from the top view, completely top, no isometric or anything. And then we'll be able to overlay those two sprites on top of each other to get the finished player sprite with the full animation. As far as resolution goes, I'm going to use a base of 64 by 64 for everything in the game. So obviously the player is going to be 64 pixels by 64 pixels. You don't have to fill it all up, but as close to that resolution as possible would be good, because we want it to be not HD obviously, but we don't want it to be super low D. So that should cover the player. So the two parts, legs and torso, both 64 by 64 pixels. Next we have ground textures. Now I know a lot of people can draw ground textures, so this should be pretty easy. I don't care which textures you draw, but some of the ones we're going to need are dirt, stone, grass, forest, and it should be a tileable texture. I'm not too specific about the resolution. The basic building block for everything else is going to be 64, so you can use that, or you can make it bigger. You can go 128, 256, not too crazy, like not 1024, that's too big. But something that we can use as a tile set to make the background look really pretty. So lastly, we're going to need some object for the player to construct with, so we can start working on the base building mechanics, which is one of the three parts of the game that we want to really have be present there. So we're thinking that we should just start out with something really simple, like a stone wall. Like that's something that a caveman-esque person could build, so we're going to try to do a stone wall object that the player can build with. So that stone wall should be 64 pixels by 64, because it's going to be the basic building block size. And it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a stone wall from the top. It should be square so that it can connect to other stone walls, both to the left and right and the top and bottom of it. For for the time being at least, we could do some more advanced spriting where there's different combinations of where the wall is facing and intersections, but for now we're just going to do a square-like wall sprite that looks good, and we're just going to use that for all of the walls. Lastly, I should note that there's no almighty timeline for this project. We're not saying, oh, we want these sprites done by next week so that we can keep going and keep going. I think it's important when working with the community that you don't set a timeline, because then if you don't meet it, the whole thing kind of falls apart. So what we're going to do is there's no timeline, and basically whenever I receive these sprites from the community, I will make another update video that will first, unlike this one, it will highlight all the artists and show all the progress that we've made, just like I promised we would do in the first video. So all the artists will get their own segment about what they made, and I will show off their artwork. And then the second part will be similar to what this video was, which is explaining what we need for the next step of the game, which means that our artists can get to work on the next stage. And we'll continue doing that step by step logically until we have a really solid game built up. So I think that's it for this video. I just wanted to thank you guys that I've gotten a pretty good response already. It's day number 2 of this community game right now, and the YouTube video has about 250 views, which is pretty good. And I also have been contacted by 3 different graphic artists already, so I'm excited to work with you guys, and I hope that more of you people watching this video will contact me and we can build an even bigger and more effective team. So once again, thank you guys for being part of this project, and I'll see you with the next update video once all these sprites are created. So good luck everyone, and thank you one more time. Have a nice day.